Hello, everyone. Good to have everyone here tonight. That lovely piece of music. The tune is Washington Street. The composer is Bethany Wakeman. The band is Anadama. The musicians are Amelia Mason on fiddle, Emily Troll on accordion, Bethany Wakeman on guitar. The CD is Way Back When. This is their debut album, 13 years after they started their band, released this year. It's available for purchase. We're putting the information in the link, and some of you might know a little bit of trivia, and you'll find out about that at the end of this web chat about this band and these wonderful people that are running this band. Okay, Mischief is managed. We got a late start. There was a lot of interesting things going on in the background. And I just wanted to let you know, of course, I'm Darlene Hamilton, and we are the Historical Tea and Dance Society. We have Lindsay Verbal assisting with the program, handling media and our attendee questions. And questions are an important part of this chat. They should be submitted by opening up your chat box or locating your chat box on both platforms in Zoom and Facebook. We have Renee Turner monitoring Zoom for questions and posting. Hi. And Larry Hansen monitoring Facebook live chat and posting. And stick around for the after talk, which is posted on our friends page, and you got it in the email, and we'll post it in this, because any questions that we don't get to, we will get to in there, and it's a lot of fun. So thank you all for coming tonight. I'm going to jump right into a bio about Anna. She's a caller, dancer, musician. Anna Rain dances Scottish country dance, Norwegian, Swedish, and French ballfolk, and she was a member of the Rapper Sword Team, Dread Pirate Rapper. Having played music since a child, she brings her skills into our ECD community by playing recorders in the bands Hot Toddy with Edith Coakley Stowe, Melissa Running, and Nightcap with Miranda Weinberg and Melissa Running. Anna started calling for Contra dances in 1992 and fell in love with English country dance in 2005. She has choreographed several dances, including The Archer, which is a great dance, but one of mine and many people's favorite, Pluck Me a Fig. Great piece of music, great dance. As a certified Iyengar yoga instructor, she wrote the popular series of articles, Yoga for Dancers, for the CDSS News, and she brings a really unique perspective to our community and to our talk tonight. Let's hear more. Welcome, Anna Rain. Yay, we're happy to have you with us. Yay. Hi. So,
hi, everyone.
I know Anna wants to say something before we jump into those 5 things. So go ahead, Anna.
Okay, so I'm starting out. I'm not a historian. I am not an organizer, or at least I'm a very reluctant one. I'm not a Zoom caller, and I'm not an extrovert. Some of you may be surprised. And I have some thank yous to start off with. I'd like to thank everyone who is in the pictures and the videos. I thank my family for all the nights that I have not been home in the past 30 years. Melissa Running for long conversations in the car en route to events and being in my band. Edith Coakley Stowe, who's also in the band and makes me sound good. For eye contact, love, support, and great talks, David Rudman and Bruce Hamilton. Jenna Simpson for receiving my wish to be in the front row of her fan club. For laughter and sensitivity, Carrie Rose. And to Arthur McNair for lots of wonderful discussion and cigarette dances. And so here, this also is part of my preamble. I present my 5 things not as an expert. They are concepts I work with, and I would say wrestle with. In my yoga practice, as a dancer, and as a leader, teacher, I wrestle with all of these. I don't have the answers, but I am intrigued by the questions that I find myself struggling to answer within myself. And these 5 things are at once sequential and not sequential. They will ping around inside ourselves depending on what we need at any given time. I see them not necessarily occurring in order, but as touch points. But they do have some sequence in terms of how I've understood them inside myself. And then this just came in last night. I have friends who have a daughter who's about 7 or 8, and since she was born, I have been interested in things that she has said. I don't see them very often. I know them through the dance community, Michael and Christy, and their daughter is Cynthia. And periodically, I will get an email, and the subject line is Cynthia Says, and I got one last night. And Michael said, yeah, I haven't sent one of these for a long time, but this is a good one. Cynthia says, after listening to her heart through a stethoscope, why are we all made of music? So I love that. And now I'll launch into 5 things.
Okay, our first thing. Thing 1, enough.
So this is something that I say to everyone who might need it as much as I do. Exactly who you are is enough. What you bring to the enterprise is enough. We each come to the dance for different reasons. And I remember the moment where I first was introduced to that and my brain exploded. I didn't know that. We each come for different reasons. We learn differently, we process differently, and each of those differences deserves respect. No other person brings your gifts and your frailties to the dance. You belong here. Be present and claim that. You are enough. And the corollary is that every other person who is at the event, and that's the sound engineer, the organizer, the musicians, the dancer, the caller, every other person is also enough. And and I'm speaking again to myself, when I am able to understand that truly deeply inside of myself, things work together better. I am not an expert at it yet. And here is a quote from Brené Brown that speaks to this for me. We experience support and trust when those around us are confident that we can get ourselves out of a jam. And now I've got a couple of pictures. One is of me and Robin Hayden. Robin and I met in our fall semester of first year of college in 1979, and she has been a very important person in my life ever since then. So this is us scheming at Pine Woods in 2016, and I love Robin. And then I have a picture of my band, Hot Toddy. That's Melissa running on the keyboard and Edith Coakley-Stowe on the fiddle, and we are playing at the Williamsburg Ball. So those are some people who have helped me embrace that I am enough. So when's she going to talk about yoga? Now, I'm going to talk about yoga now. The practice of yoga encompasses 8 limbs. There are 8 pieces to yoga, and the physical part is the 3rd limb. And we in the Western world think of the body stuff as the only part of yoga, and it's not. That is 1 out of 8. But the practice of yoga welcomes every practitioner in the same way that I hope the dance welcomes every dancer, as exactly where you are. And the invitation is to show up, be present, and then take the next step. The definition of yoga, as given by the sage Patanjali, who was writing about 2,500 years ago, is yoga is the ceasing of the fluctuations of the mind. The ceasing of the fluctuations of the mind. So when we practice, what we're looking for is to be able to draw the mind, instead of bouncing around, to be able to still it and let it be pure and one-pointed, or preferably no-pointed. So that's what we're going for. And notice there's nothing about tight hamstrings. There's nothing about standing up straight. That's not what it's about. It's about figuring out ways to still the fluctuations of the mind. And so one's practice is to get the head and the body into harmony. And for most of us in the West, that means getting out of our head, because we live in a very head-centered culture. It is not exercise. The method that I practice and teach is Iyengar, and I often think of it as the Scottish of the yoga world. No, not like that, like this. Watch again. No, turn your foot this way. No, not that way. Look at me this way. It's very precise, and it's physically exacting, which is not to say that it's difficult, but it can be challenging for some practitioners to connect the head and the body, to find that place where the ribs can lift and the hips turn one way or another. And for me, the practice of yoga and the pastime of dance are both an expression of harmony, of movement and emotion. My history of becoming enough. I was born to my parents late in life. They were late in life. I wasn't. I was a baby. My siblings were 15 and 16. I was a complete surprise. And my parents had already had a life. And I was very much loved, very much wanted, but there wasn't a lot of attention put on what would work for me. And everybody else in my family had sort of an athletic bent, or at least the history of an athletic bent. And so there was some expectation that I would be able to throw a ball. Sadly for them, that was not possible. I couldn't do anything that had to do with a ball. I couldn't hit, I couldn't catch, I couldn't kick, I couldn't run. I was just bad at everything. I was bad at soccer. I was bad at my one season of soccer, my one season of softball. My father, who was a very active amateur tennis player, he tried to teach me tennis, and it ended up with him stomping off the court and me in tears, and we didn't try it again. And so what I heard was, oh, it's too bad, you're not coordinated. Okay. And I spent my childhood watching TV and reading books. That's what I did. Now, my parents in this previous life had been square dancers. My dad was a square dance caller, and my mom played the piano. But when they moved to Denver about 8 years before I was surprisingly born, the square dance community they had a practice that you only danced with your spouse. And my parents said, that will not work for us. And so they stopped square dancing. And so I had this heritage that I missed by this much. I saw my dad call a square dance twice, I think, for church. And my mom played the piano. And that was not part of my growing up. I rather reluctantly was a little scared about going to Swarthmore College because they had a PE requirement. And I had gleefully gotten out of PE after 6th grade. I was so happy not to have to do anything. And I thought, oh boy, I don't know what I'll do. And turns out there was what worked in my schedule, and what I thought I could manage was either badminton or modern dance. And I said, fine, modern dance. And guess what? If there's not a ball that I have to pay attention to, I have some coordination. And I didn't find that out until I was 18. And part of me is thrilled that is my own. That was mine. I figured that out. I found that by accident, but I found it. And part of me is annoyed that no one saw that I could do that before I was 18. So I went to my first Contra dance when I came to be for orientation to be an RA, and I said, this is cool, and I can do this. I like this. And then when I went to, after college, I did modern dance. I performed for the last 2 years. As a junior, I was in the performing troupe doing modern dance, oddly coordinated. I lived in Boulder for a couple of years after college, and I spent my weekends either driving to Fort Collins to a dance, or driving to Denver to a dance, or dancing in Boulder. I was just contra dancing, driving and contra dancing, and driving and contra dancing. And at one of the dances in Fort Collins, I loved this, and I thought I would love to call. And so this is, and I feel sad. So I invite all of you to take this in. I went up to the person who was calling. I was 23 years old. And I said, I would like to learn how to call. And he said, we don't need any new callers, and turned away. And I said, oh, okay. I guess I won't learn to call. And I didn't until I was 30 and living in central Pennsylvania, where my husband was getting a degree, and I dragged my family, which included an infant and a 2-year-old, to this podunk square dance. And this guy who was older than dirt said, we really need someone else to start calling here. And I said, me, that would be me. I'll do that. And Robin told me about CDSS, and I said, CDSS, okay. And I ordered a couple of Contra calling books. No one helped me. I figured it out on my own. I got to call twice a year. My learning curve was flat. And it took a long time to get there. But I moved to the DC area, and I'm calling now, and I like it. And I'd love to show you a video now of my home community. And what I'd like you to notice is that everybody is dancing at her own capacity and how she wants to dance. And yet everyone is making room for the other dancers in the dance, and there is joy. And I'd like to give a shout out to April and Jerry Blum. This is their ballroom, Ballroom Blum, which used to be owned by Renee Camus, but now Jerry and April run it, and it's a beautiful place. So please enjoy this video. Oh, and it's a Jenna Simpson dance. Well done. Thank you, Lindsay. And so that takes us to thing 2.
Okay, and let me tell you all, Anna has some wonderful quotes, and we're putting them in the chat. This is definitely a chat you're going to want to save, or you're going to want to grab things out of and make notes of, because there's a lot of cool things being put in there. So just wanted to let you all know. Thing 2, awareness.
Awareness. So I can't see you. I am going to step back a bit so you can see me here and give you some mechanics of awareness of one's own body. And again, it's not about what we do with our body, but how we connect. And in order to do that, we have to establish some concepts. So here are my frontal hip bones. I invite you to stand up. You could also do it sitting. Find your frontal hip bones. Put your feet underneath your frontal hip bones. Now, find your ribs in front and walk your fingers around to your back ribs, and then lift your back ribs away from your waist. See what that feels like. Now, take the knuckles of your fingers and slide the knuckles of your fingers up your side ribs to lift the whole rib cage, particularly the back ribs. Now, don't lift the shoulder blades. Take the shoulder blades down and compare there. What's shoulder blades up feel like? Then take shoulder blades down. And then last, find your collarbones here and take your fingers, walk your collarbones all the way to the end, and then take these bones in opposite directions, one to the right and one to the left. So I'll go over that again. Find your hip bones. I didn't say this. Lift your hip bones. Lift the hip bones away from the thighs. That's not a pelvic tilt. It's a subtle movement. Lift the back ribs away from your waist. Lift the side ribs away from the waist. Take your shoulder blades down and keep your collarbones broad. Now relax the arms, relax the jaw, relax the eyes. Feel that lift in the spine. So that's some awareness of the body. In yoga philosophy, we have 3 qualities of nature. And the first 2, I'll talk about the third one later. The first 2 are tamas and rajas. Tamas, T-A-M-A-S. Tamas is the negative connotation is inertia, stuck, stiff. The positive connotation is grounded and stable. The second quality of nature is rajas, R-A-J-A-S. And the negative connotation is erratic movement. But the positive connotation is vibrancy and mobility. And we need to be aware of both of those in our body. Tamas, which grounds us, and rajas, which helps us move. We can also call those stability and mobility. And we need a combination of both. And that changes pose by pose, day by day, mood by mood. Which one do we need more? We don't always start from stability. Sometimes if we are very stiff, we need to get some freedom and move. We need to do something more quickly and find the rajas motion and then settle in and find our tamas. But we want to have both of those. The poses have actions, and they create a structure within which we have an experience of connection in the body. So again, torso lift, feet underneath the hip bones, lift the hip bones, lift the back ribs, lift the side ribs, descend the shoulder blades, and broaden the collarbones. Right side to the right, left side to the left, and relax the arms, relax the throat and the face. I invite you to do that 2 or 3 times a day. Now, when we have that awareness, we have the ability to dance our own dance. And when we dance our own dance, we give our companions what they need. And when our companions dance their own dance, when they're fully invested, we have the freedom to dance our dance. And so questions that I ask myself, not only as a dancer, but as a musician, where are you? Where am I? Where do I need to be? Can I dance with complete presence? And often I get stuck in that place where I think, well, that so-and-so isn't where they need to be. And the minute I've left, I have ceased to be aware of myself. And I offer here a quote that is attributed to the Talmud, although I did a little research and I can't say that with true confidence. We do not see things as they are. We see them as we are. And so the better that we know our own selves, the more complete presence we can bring to the community. And I often wonder, like, who has the right to say, this is how we do it? You need to do it this way. I struggle with that because sometimes I do want, if I'm calling, I do want everyone to do things a certain way. But I also think that there is a balance of if each of us takes responsibility for our own awareness, then we end up being able to contribute to the evening of dance or the dance itself in a way that has a better chance of becoming integrated. And I already said that. Great. I have a picture coming up of one of my personal favorite calling moments. I was invited to call a Contra dance with the band Janticorum, and it was a really great night, and they are lovely, and and that look on my face, that's how the whole night went. It was a great night. And then we have a couple of pictures of an impromptu dance that happened a couple of years ago in Western Mass when I was traveling just to visit friends. And Corey Walters said, oh, hey, Anna, I hear you're in town. Do you want to call a dance at my space? He was living in a barn at that point, and there was a place for dancing. And I said, yeah, I don't have my cards, but I could pull out some things. And so this dance happened with a bunch of people who were attentive dancers. We found some musicians, and we danced some fairly intricate dances because that was the level of dancing, and it was what the dances that happened to be in my brain. And it was one of the best evenings of my life. So I include that in awareness because that's part of how the community works, that, oh, somebody's in town. Let's do something. So now we've got a video of the Dance Centennial by Philippe Callens. And this is a video taken at Pinewoods in 2015. Jean Morrow taught it as part of the advanced class. And here's what I want you to look at. There's one set that the video shows. And notice how each dancer has awareness of their own space and their own dance, but also awareness of everybody else that they need to be interacting with. And I invite you particularly to look at the covering, how people match each other in the hay. So this is Centennial at Pinewoods. Thank you.
That is a wonderful video. And it was beautiful, the covering. All right, we're going to move into thing 3. And remember, there are a lot of nice quotes going on in the chat, so make sure to grab those. Thing 3, connection.
So similar to awareness, I believe that the first element of connection is within yourself. And in order to engage in integrity with others, we have to build integrity inside ourselves. Again, I say this not as someone who has mastered this. I say this as someone who is saying, that's a really good idea. And every once in a while, I get a glimpse of being able to do that. So we start with the self, and then we move on to connection with gravity, to connection with partner, to connection with music, to connection with the figures, to connection with everyone who is on the floor dancing. And your order may be different from what I think, but I think that finding the connection inside ourselves, which is something that I do in my yoga practice. It's something that keeps me balanced and sane, I will say that. It keeps me sane. And when we connect with others in English country dancing, we connect with eyes and we connect with hands. And I find that deeply moving and personal, and also utilitarian, that to be able to look at someone and to be able to touch with just the right amount of touch, with not gripping, but there, and finding that, negotiating that in those microseconds of touch is one of the joys. And I know that anyone who's listening to this knows what I'm talking about. And so I find that deeply satisfying. And I have a couple of pictures here. The first is a picture from 2009. My older daughter was in Budapest on a semester abroad, and I flew there over Thanksgiving to hang out with her for a week. And I got off the plane and she said, I'm going to take you to a dance thing because I know you want to go. And so she took me to a dance thing. And the only word that I could speak in Hungarian was pivo. And that would get me beer and not much else. And so I didn't know anything. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was swept into this dance and I experienced connection. That's me in the brown shirt. And then I have a picture of my Rapper Sword team, Dread Pirate Rapper. And I love this team. This was a wonderful team. We had some really splendid times in my back room. Now, I bring in a couple of big yoga concepts here because I think they relate to connection and what we understand inside ourselves. These are two Sanskrit words that we need both of in order to practice, but I would argue we need them both in life and certainly in our dancing world. Here are the words, abhyasa and vairagya. Abhyasa means continued practice, showing up on the mat, saying, I'm gonna go practice today. I'm gonna do my practice even though I don't feel like it, even though I don't really want to. My mat is sticky. I have paper clips to organize. Nope, showing up, abhyasa. And then vairagya is often translated as renunciation. A simpler way to say it is letting go of what you think your continued practice is supposed to give to you. And this is something that Iyengar says we need both of them. Like in the way that a bird needs two wings to fly. We need to show up on the mat, and we need to not be attached to what we think we're supposed to get from that. And if we only show up on the mat, but we really want that thing, our practice will get stagnant. It will not improve. if we don't show up on the mat, but we don't really care, then the practice goes nowhere. We need both of those. And so I think that translates to dance, where we need to show up, but we also need to remember that we aren't in charge of what we think we're going to get out of it. And now I have a video. Oh boy, I urge you to look at the whole video at some point. I picked a clip. This is Petra Eriksson and Anton Schneider dancing a slang polska. And Anton Schneider, I took a slang polska workshop at Dance Flurry with Anton Schneider, and it was one of the best dance teaching experiences I've ever had in my life. He was amazing. And what I would like for you to notice is at the beginning of the clip that you'll see, Petra is leading, and it's subtle. You might not know it unless you know what the figures of the slang polska are, but she's leading. So observe how he is responsive to her lead. And then there is this transition that happens over several seconds where they change the lead. The music is in a transition, the music is in a transition, and then there will be a bang, the music changes, he is leading, and the energy changes. Pay attention to how relaxed they are in how they relate to each other, and see how they keep the connection going in both the gentler energy of her leading and the more energetic energy of his leading. So let's go on.
Actually, we're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
Yes, no? Lindsay, did I put you on the spot?
Yes, you did. But let me double check and make sure that our question asker is ready to ask their question. They have not responded, but I can read it for them.
Why don't you do that? We're going to put a question in.
Awesome. Okay, so the question is from Alex Dancer, and the question is, Anna, do you use your body for or experience your movement differently when dancing English country dancing or Contra or other dance forms? And if you do, how do you transmit that sensibility to your dancers?
The answer is yes, big time. And there's a longer way I can answer that. I don't much dance Contra anymore, and I'll talk about that in the after chat. The difference for me between English country dancing and Scottish country dancing, which are the ones I get to dance most, back in the before times, dance most regularly. Scottish, one of my friends said, it's the beautiful amalgam of power and grace. And I love the being able to move quickly or very slowly in a strathspey, the way that my muscles are used is it's very precise. It's the Iyengar of the dance world. I'm integrating my body in a way that is almost like an athlete. English, I stand up straight, I move to the music, I interact with my people, and I'm not thinking in the same way. So those are two examples.
Cool. Thank you. And by the way, Alex is now here. Hello, Alex.
Hi, Alex.
Oh, you're still muted. Let's give it a try. There we go.
Sorry. Anna, you're the person I've been waiting to come into my life. The way you talk about English country dancing is so, it means a lot. I've been waiting for you. So my question is was piddly compared to what you're talking about. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we thought it was a great question. And
I'm going to cry now.
We will, oh, yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Thank you, Alex.
We're going to talk about some more opportunities you can have with Anna a little bit later on. So, yeah.
Okay.
All right, Anna, back to thing number 3.
Okay. Let's see. Quick thing number 3. I want to give a quote from Anton Schneider, whom you just saw dancing. He said, and I use this all the time in my dancing. He said, "Strive to be interested instead of interesting. Strive to be interested instead of interesting." I think that's pretty cool. In connection, I have the part where I've been a musician. I've been a musician all my life, and I'm not great, but my sensibilities are much higher than my technique or my dedication to practice. Started with piano and then went to flute and recorder simultaneously. And then when I was 14, I went straight for recorder, and I was a serious early musician all through high school and college. And I played a little lute in college too. And then I went to the Peace Corps, took an auto harp, and haven't played an auto harp since, but it was a great thing then. And then I had a bunch of babies and didn't do much with my music. And about 15 years ago, I was itching. I was like, I need something. Do I need a new instrument? Do I need a new language? And one Wednesday night at my local Glen Echo dance, I said, oh, hey, I could play recorder here. Oh, okay. And so I've started playing in the regular rotation, and that's how I get most of my music. I used to be part of an a cappella choir, but I am not right now, and that's where most of the music comes in. So that's the music part of connection. And I think I want to go on. I'm on to number 4.
Okay. Hang on.
Okay.
Okay, and we'll come back to that other stuff in the after talk, because there was a couple of interesting things there. All right, thing number 4, balance.
So I'm going to start off with 3 pictures. The first one is literally balance. My friend Terry and I are grounding Maggie's thighs. She needed this for her body. And so we're giving each other balance and each pressing our feet into Maggie's thighs so she could get the sensation that she needed to help her body feel good. So that's balance there. And then there's a picture of me ranting, and I love ranting. And Jeff Barry caught this right at that place where I was so happy that I got to rant. So that's some balance there. And then there's a picture of Kaylee Knight during English Week at Pinewoods, and that's Steve Howe, and there are a bunch of people packed into one of the dance pavilions, and that's balance too. So again, you might be not surprised when you hear me say balance begins inside ourselves. And in the same way we begin awareness with self and connection with self, we have balance inside. And the way I think of balance is both literal, like, can I move with assurance and grace without hurting myself and without hurting anybody else? but it's also figurative. Do I have a good sense of how much to assert myself into this tune, into this figure, into this discussion? And again, something I'm still working on. I do not have answers here and I struggle with it. Sometimes balance means get to the next place quickly, but sometimes balance means draw yourself up and pause before your next footfall. And we need to know when does that happen? Balance is the moment just before you fall. And I mean that again, literally and figuratively, because there are all kinds of balancing poses in yoga. And sometimes you have to fall to have that experience, that momentary bit of experience. And BKS Iyengar, who was the one who codified this system that I practice, said once, I have fallen out of more poses than you have ever done. And I like that idea that even he, as a very experienced practitioner, has to fall out of poses. We have to fall until we find that moment. And here is a video of a Scottish event. This is Hogmanay, which is the New Year's dance. It's presented by the Delaware Valley Scottish Country Dance Group in the Philadelphia area. And it's a beautiful dance with attentive dancers and glorious music played by Mara Shea, James McQueen, and Dave Weisler. And as well as you can see this in Zoom, notice how the dancers take hands on the downbeat. And that's an agreement of the form where we say, oh, this is how we want to dance together. And we have all agreed that that is going to happen, but there is a gloriousness, and it doesn't hurt that Dave Weisler is playing a Dave Weisler tune. So the dance is Bordeaux en Belle. Jeffrey Wood wrote it. Thank you. So here's, am I there? Yeah. The third quality of nature. So I spoke before about tamas and rajas. When we have those two balanced, we experience sattva. And sattva is not specifically translatable, but it's balance, it's radiance, it's equanimity, it's harmony within. And we have to find the balance between our stable self, our mobile self, in order to find that equanimity inside. And I think, let's do the last picture with Dancing with Amy. And that was a moment of joy. And I think we were probably balancing there. And so here is fifth thing.
Thing number 5, transcendence.
So transcendence, there are all kinds of words, transformation, integration, revelation. I played with all of those, but it's that the transcendence that I want to address. And in yoga, in Patanjali tells us that to master asana, to master the poses, the way we know that we have mastered a pose is when effort becomes effortless. When effort becomes effortless. And so we have practiced, we have it in our body, and we've shown up on the mat, we've done our abhyasa, we've let go of what we think we're supposed to get. And think about how this is with dancing. You show up every week at your weekly dance, and you want that thing, but if you go in wanting it, how likely is it to come to you? For me, not so likely, not so likely. And so this being able to show up and be there with our full presence, with our awareness, with our connection, with our balance, and not have that grasping of wanting that moment, it will happen. And we all know, we know that feeling, we know that place. It's what makes our eyes glow when we speak of dancing. We want everyone else to experience it too. When you say, oh, you have to come dancing with me, we know what we want people to get out of it. And sometimes that happens and sometimes it doesn't, but that's that feeling. And the more I can let go of how much I want that, the easier I am with whether it comes or not. And there's so many wonderful things to enjoy, and all the mistakes that are fun, and all the other things that are beloved about this bizarre subculture that we all belong to. All those things are wonderful too, but we all know we want that nectar, we want that thing. And how do we get it? That's the question. Couple of pictures here. One is Pinewood Scottish Sessions, which I was having a transcendent moment. I love dancing with this partner, Ellen Scannell. She has a radiant smile, and it was a transcendent moment. I was so happy there, and it got caught by Meyer Bilmers, who took the picture. And then another transcendent moment is at the Philly Ball, this picture Rachel Winslow took at the Philly Ball of April, Bernie, and me. And it was that moment where we were right there with each other, and Rachel got it. So in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, BKS Iyengar gives some explanatory text, and there is something that I like this idea, and I'm going to read it. When one first contemplates a diamond, one at first sees with great clarity the gem itself. Gradually, one becomes aware of the light glowing from the center, and as awareness of the light grows, awareness of the stone as an object diminishes. And then there is only brightness, no sources, no object. And when there is light everywhere, that is the eighth limb of yoga. That is samadhi, enlightenment, revelation, absorption, integration, all the things that we're wanting. But if we're only seeing the diamond, or if we're looking for the light rather than getting the whole thing, we haven't gotten there quite yet. And here is a lovely Contra video, and it's a little long, well, long by these standards. It's a video made by Doug Plummer, and he gathers the experience of the figures and the dancers and the musicians. This is from the Cape Breton Fiddle Fest in Shepherdstown in October of 2009. And Wendy McIsaac, who's a big deal Cape Breton musician, is playing the piano. But near the end of the video, look for fiddler Elka Baker's face. And she rolls her eyes, and what I think she's saying is, I can't believe how wonderful this is. And this is a contra dance, but it absolutely captures transcendence.
Circle, three places. Circle here on the side. Property. And then change. Take hands to ring and balance here. Balance. Right, that's right.
Thank you. There's nothing more that needs to be said.
That was wonderful. It's almost seems superficial to ask what's your favorite dance, because everybody's going to want to know. But
Well, I do have a favorite dance, but I'm going to string you along a little bit, because I have dances that I remember. I remember doing Shandy Hall with Miles Lewis Bacon, absolutely memorable. Hambleton's Roundel with Robin Hayden. Deal Take the War with Terry Harvey. Leather Lake House with Megan Wilson. Mendocino Redwood with Carol Marsh. Farnacle Huggy with Margaret Berry. I remember the moment that I did these dances. They still live with me. And my favorite dance is St. Margaret's Hill.
yeah, great dances. And we haven't asked for a while, are you a tea drinker and what's your favorite? But you went out of your way to say, yes, you do have a favorite.
I do. I do. And it all ties in, because my favorite tea is called Golden Dust. And I buy it from the Maharashtra tea supply place, in a place that has no English. And this is in Pune, which is near Mumbai in India, where I go to study at the Iyengar Institute. And every time I go there, I've been 4 times, I go to the Maharashtra tea supply and I get Golden Dust. And it's a very, very fine, dark, strong tea. And that's what I make my chai out of. So that's my favorite tea.
That sounds fabulous. Will, we do have an announcement to make, but I'm going to get to some thank yous first. So anyways, thank you, Anna, for coming on our show. It's been great. Thank you, thank you. It's been really nice getting to know you all week. It's fun working with you, that's for sure. Thank you to our 5 Things team, Lindsay Verbal in the background, Renee Turner, and Reed Wilson sometimes on Zoom, and Larry Hansen on Facebook. We certainly want to give a shout out to Colin Hume, who has archived all our web chats on his website. So thank you. You can go there and check out our long list of people we have had on. Thank you to all our past guests. And a big thank you to all the folks who have been sending in donations to our group. It's very much appreciated. There are operating expenses, and we really appreciate it. The After Talk link is posting, but don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. I'm saving it for the end. Coming up next week is Chip Prince. We're really excited to have Chip. He has played keyboards and occasionally conducted Broadway shows for over 25 years. And he started playing ECD and Contra dances in 2003. His warm smile, lively humor, and delightful musical style has won him friends and admirers, particularly at Country Dance New York, Pinewoods, and Heydays, and we fell in love with him there, and that's why we asked him on. Registration is open. Coming up in just about 2 weeks is our third Saturday Historical Dance web chat on September 19th. It's Paul Cooper. He is really fun. History is not boring with Paul. Paul is an enthusiastic researcher into Regency era dancing, and he's involved in Early Dance Circle and Hampshire Regency Dancers, those beautiful videos you've seen on YouTube and such. So make sure you check out that. Registration is open. And coming, here it is, the big announcement. Coming on Saturday, October 3rd, there's going to be a one-time workshop, at least for now. We're starting with one. Concepts in I'm younger yoga for dancers class with Anna Rain. It's going to be at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, and we're posting a link. We do not have all the particulars worked out yet. We have the date and the time. You can mark your calendar. Sign up for our mailing list for this specific class. We're posting it, and then you will get first dibs on being in the class. We don't know yet if there's going to be a limit on how many can attend. So there's, yay, Hannah's going to teach us yoga. We're very happy about that. Okay. Donations. Well, Anna has a lot of suggestions. That's not surprising. We're going to post them, and we're going to play the screen. And so thank you, Anna. And for the exit music, this is really exciting. The tune is Tom Kruskals. It's co-written by Amelia Mason. Oh, nope. Did I say that right? Amelia Mason and Emily Troll. Great. Band is Anadama. It's from their new album. It's a hidden track. It's a hidden bonus track. So they are the girls that wrote it. So we're very excited to hear it. And they were girls when they wrote it. So it's amazing. This beautiful, beautiful tune. This is a new take on it, how they wrote it. So listen to it and then join us in 2 minutes for the after talk. We look forward to seeing you and bringing up those questions that you asked. So we'll talk to everybody then. Bye.